Liberals have truly gone off the deep end, you guys. Pro-Ukrainian protesters actually chased down Vice President J.D. Vance while the man was on a walk with his 3-year-old daughter, Maribel. J.D. Vance posted about it on X, talking about how while he was walking his 3-year-old daughter around, a group of Slavo-Ukrainian protesters followed them around and shouted as his daughter grew increasingly anxious and scared. They're freaking scaring a 3-year-old. I mean, like, how low can you go here, right? He said it was mostly respectful conversation, but if you're chasing a 3-year-old as a part of a political protest, you're a shit person. Do you guys agree? I honestly do agree. Because these anti-Trump, anti-Musk, anti-Vance protesters, they just don't know where to draw the line anymore. Tesla car owners, dealerships, and charging stations have been targeted nationwide. An Oregon Tesla dealership located 10 miles south of Portland was targeted by gunshot. Earlier this month, a man was arrested after Mazel Tov cocktails were thrown at a Tesla dealership in Salem, Oregon. In Massachusetts, several Tesla charging stations were set on fire. And don't forget about the recent DDoS attack that shut down X. That's right, guys. Elon Musk said that X went dark as the result of a massive cyber attack that originated in the Ukraine area. Ukraine, you guys. But what mainstream media refuses to mention is that the tech billionaire actually provided the Kiev government with access to Starlink terminals, which they themselves admit have been key to Ukrainian military operations. Now, as Elon Musk pointed out, literally challenged Putin to one-on-one physical combat over Ukraine, and his Starlink system is the backbone of the Ukrainian army. He even went so far as to say that their entire front line would collapse if he were to turn it off. But do these protesters care anything about that? Nope, of course not. They just want to sow chaos and destruction. Case in point, a London-based Ukrainian intelligence group linked to the USAID, yes, I said USAID again, right? Labeled American politicians as foreign propagandists. The group Malfar created an online blacklist including Vice President J.D. Vance, Republican Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie, U.S. Counterterrorism Director Joe Kent, and others. Now, according to them, these officials on their list are external agents of Russia, so the group is demanding their removal from public positions and investigations into their personal involvement in crimes, even calling for sanctions against them. I mean, that's what you get when you drain the swamp, right, guys? All the crocodiles and piranhas come out to attack. I mean, just look at this group of pro-Ukrainian protesters mobbing Vance and his 3-year-old daughter. Watch.
And I've talked to you guys now for about 5 minutes.
America's Hitler.
And
what changed?
Man, now that's a different question. I'm happy. Would you like me to talk about how I've changed my view on Donald Trump from 10 years ago?
Cell phone video shows the moment Vice President J.D. Vance was approached by pro-Ukraine protesters in Cincinnati, Ohio.
People are dying.
What I told gentlemen earlier is that we think it's in the best interest of our country, and frankly in the best interest of the Ukrainians for the war to stop.
CNN affiliate WCPO says the protesters were on their way to a pro-Ukraine rally nearby when the chance encounter with the vice president occurred. Vance appeared to plead with the protesters to not disturb his 3-year-old daughter, to which at least one protester could be heard saying that was part of his job.
Ma'am, look at my 3-year-old daughter now, and I told you, I talked to you for 5 minutes,
Sign up for this job.
and now
That's what you agreed. Yeah,
I did
why
not agree
people are
to have my
yelling at you?
3-year-old to have people run around and yell at her. And I did talk to you, and I said, if I talk to you for a few minutes, will you leave my 3-year-old daughter alone? And you said yes. So I'd like you guys to respect that.
Drag your long saddle.
Exactly. They certainly invaded Ukraine in 2022.
And
But there needs to
2014.
be
And
a
Georgia and
settlement.
Texas.
Ma'am?
We are the aggressor every time.
One of the protesters later told CNN they felt Vance's post misrepresented the moment.
I understand that that's your view, and certainly
No, it's not our view. It's the truth. It's the facts.
and certainly.
I heard a woman say people are dying. No duh, right? That's exactly why our president and vice president want peace and stability in that region. I mean, seriously though, these protesters, they're completely out of control. I mean, I've been seeing them everywhere online, and you can just see that they've got menace in their eyes. Here, watch.
Voice is heard here. They want to send a clear message to JD.
Yeah, they're just totally lost in their delusion. And you know they obviously don't care at all about children, as we saw. Are these pro-Ukrainian protesters out of control, or is this just more proof of the globalist agenda? Type unhinged left if you think that these protesters have completely lost it, or globalist puppets if you believe that they're being used to push an agenda. Let's see where everybody stands on this. Now, honestly, guys, I'm really impressed by how calm and nice J.D. Vance treated these people. He calmly and collectively spoke to their concerns about Russia and a hopeful and end to the war. He pointed out the hard truth that Russia certainly invaded Ukraine in 2022, but there needs to be a settlement. He even reminded them that he's with his 3-year-old daughter and that he cannot take his child out to have people run around and yell at her. Now, seriously, guys, JD Vance, he just knows how to handle these conflicts. In fact, this reminds me of his and Trump's argument with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in front of the American media. Zelensky was acting all high and mighty at the time. Trump slammed him for disrespecting the United States, and JD Vance sharply pointed out, have you said thank you once? I mean, yeah, where's the gratitude for all of the U.S. support in his country's war against Russia? Not even our war, their war, you know? Now, while we're on the topic of gratitude, we also need to talk about the attacks that these criminals are committing on Tesla dealerships and the whole anti-Musk, anti-Trump rhetoric that's fueling them. Here, watch.
Primetime told you last night that deranged leftists are vandalizing Teslas and firebombing dealerships across the country. Well, we just found out another dealership in Oregon was just shot up. Watch.
Roughly 40 protesters gathered here at the Southwest Cascade Avenue Tigard Tesla dealership for a protest. They're calling it the Rally to Restore Democracy. They were protesting against President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the Doge cuts, and also the tariffs at the border. This protest is only hours after police report that this Tesla dealership was hit by multiple gunshot rounds overnight. Investigators believe at least 7 shots were fired, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows. 1 bullet went through an office wall and into a computer monitor. This incident comes after a string of vandalism attempts for Teslas and Tesla dealerships across the nation.
Primetime's also obtained new photos of the man who firebombed the Tesla dealership in Salem, Oregon, causing $500,000 worth of damage. Surveillance photos show him walking towards the Tesla dealership in a black burqa before chucking Molotov cocktails at the building. A red Tesla burst into flames. There you go. Then the suspect hurled a rock at the dealership window and shattered it. That's when more random projectiles were thrown, damaging other cars in the area. When investigators arrived on the scene, they found more Molotovs in the parking lot. Political unrest from the radical left's brewing. After Trump got shot, the left was told to tone down the rhetoric, or the violence would get worse. Some listened. They stopped calling Trump Hitler and started using names of other dictators.
I've watched this guy use television like nobody's ever done. It is Mussolini. It's about believing the leader in what he says verbatim. And that's what Trump does on television. And he's using us to do it, using the medium.
The media doesn't think he's a fascist. They say he's a revolutionary.
This country is being turned upside down, and Donald Trump is the revolutionary who's going to incite revolution if he doesn't stop this crap.
So what are Democrats going to do? Well, The View says they need to stop Trump by any means necessary, even if it means sacrificing their lives.
The Democrats are not meeting the moment. The baby boomers, the civil rights generation, they knew what they had to do. They were willing to fight and die for their rights. This generation of Congress, they are not meeting the moment. This is an existential crisis.
I mean, after all Elon Musk and Trump have done to curb government waste and fraud, this is the thanks they get? Tesla dealerships being gunned down, Molotoved, and just plain destroyed. It's a whole string of them, really. Now, apart from the ones that I mentioned earlier, a Boston man was recently arrested as they were caught on video allegedly tagging Tesla vehicles with Musk decals and sharing the footage on X. And get this, guys, when confronted, the man said he had the right to deface the property of others, even talking about free speech. Well, as the police pointed out before they arrested him, they'd like to speak with the suspect so that they can educate him on the difference between free speech and vandalizing property belonging to others. Just last week, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Colorado charged 42-year-old Lucy Grace Nelson, also known as Justin Thomas Nelson, after police say that they found a number of explosives and concerning messages at a Colorado Tesla dealership. So Lucy Grace, aka Justin Thomas. So does that mean that we've got trans people joining in on this? Now, seriously, guys, this is the kind of thing that ultimately led to the 2, not just 1 assassination attempts on President Trump on the campaign trail. I mean, are they seriously forgetting that? Because these instigators, they just keep upping their hateful rhetoric. Indivisible, an organization founded by the former Democratic congressional staffers, urged liberals to protest Elon Musk's actions to the point that they've even provided a toolkit with recommendations of how to take the fight to Elon Musk. I cannot make this stuff up, guys. So the manual details steps for planning and executing demonstrations at Tesla dealerships, showrooms, and factories. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't even be surprised if one of these days, these manuals even contained instructions on how to create Mazel Tov cocktails and even avoid surveillance cameras. You know what I mean, guys? Drop a quick yes in the comment down below. Hit the like button if I'm making sense to you guys. Also subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications for more content like this. All right, guys, they won't tell you on the news. They won't teach you in schools. The system was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you trapped, stuck in debt, taxes, and endless work while the elites shift wealth into their own hands. And now they're making their big move, a wealth transfer that's disguised as inflation and new taxes, unrealized gains that target your future wealth, layoffs, a slumping job market, and economic uncertainty. Well, guys, I actually have good news. I've figured out how to break free, and I'm exposing it inside the Liberty Pursuit Network before they try to shut it down. Time's running out. Will you sit back and watch the system tighten its grip on you, or will you finally take control? Join the Liberty Pursuit Network, link in the description now before it's too late. According to Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, lawmakers know that Elon Musk hitting him, attacking him, is actually good for their polling numbers. So they're going to continue to do it. I mean, if you remember, Elon Musk also said on Joe Rogan that there's been an increase in threats on his life. When will these people stop? Don't they know that the ones that they should be angry with are the people from the last administration, not this one? Seriously, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they wouldn't even give these people a second of their time. They'd be too busy hanging out with their celebrity endorser friends. VP JD Vance was definitely a class act for even entertaining these protesters. Trump and Elon Musk too for handling this hateful rhetoric. I mean, just think about it, guys. Elon Musk said X gets attacked every day, but the latest cyber attack shut them down. It was done with a lot of resources. He said either a large coordinated group and or a country is involved. But does he take it out on Ukraine and shut down their Starlink system? No, even though he could easily do it. Now, again, his line was that their entire front line would collapse if he were to turn it off. And by it, he means the massive Starlink infrastructure that he provided to their war effort free of charge. They ain't even paying this man for this stuff. He's also pointed out what he's really sickened by is years of slaughter in a stalemate that Ukraine will inevitably lose. Now, for the Doge leader, anyone who really cares, really thinks, and really understands wants the meat grinder to stop. The bottom line for Elon Musk, peace now. You see, that doesn't get mentioned enough. So yeah, kudos to him, to JD Vance, and for Trump for staying class acts amidst all of this. Now, our final story tonight, the theme of disinformation around our lawmakers. It's about how the London-based Ukrainian intelligence group Malfar labeled American politics as foreign propagandists. Now, I wasn't exactly surprised when the media outlets found out that this group also has ties with the USAID. I mean, they're basically following the Hillary Clinton playbook from 2016, calling Republican lawmakers Russian spies. You see, they released this online blacklist that included Vice President JD Vance, Republican Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie, U.S. Counterterrorism Director Joe Kent, and others, and said that they're all external agents of Russia that needed to be removed from public positions and investigated for their personal involvement in crimes. What crimes? I don't even know. Apparently, for this USAID-linked group, these so-called external agents of Russia, they're acting as foreign propagandists of the Russian Federation that repeat the theses of Kremlin leadership, justify Russia's armed aggression against Ukraine. They're calling for the lifting of Western sanctions against the Russian Federation and convince the world that the annexation of temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine is legitimate. Their evidence? Tweets from Vance describing Ukrainian NATO membership as irresponsible and Massey's characterization of Ukrainian aid as wasteful. I mean, they're just doing their job. And now they're being called propagandists. And well, I took a look into this organization. Malfar was founded in 2014 following Ukraine's Western-backed Maidan uprising. They described it as an open source intelligence firm dedicated to countering Russian disinformation and identifying enemies of Ukraine. I mean, sure, they can claim to focus on tracking alleged war criminals, but see, their activities have even expanded to include doxing journalists and compiling blacklists of foreign politicians. Malfar lists USAID as a partner on its website as of Tuesday. These enemies and traitors of Ukraine blacklist also extends beyond politicians to include American journalists, such as Glenn Greenwald and Daily Caller founder Tucker Carlson. Now, in some cases, Malfar published personal details, including home addresses and family information. And they seem to be following the lead of the Center of Countering Disinformation, an official Ukrainian government entity that previously smeared Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul as quote unquote Kremlin assets. But see, the center deleted its list in 2024, but later admitted the smears were posted without verification. And again, the USAID connection is here. Let's not forget about how this was Elon Musk's Doge that effectively dismantled USAID after uncovering a series of wasteful spending programs, including Ecuadorial drag shows, Peruvian transgender comic books, and Arab language Sesame Street productions. In fact, Secretary of State Marco Rubio already announced a plan to cancel 83% of the agency's programs after a 6-week review. So yeah, it would make sense for them and for their allies to go on the counterattack like this. You know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think. Is it time that these protesters face justice? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Let's get a conversation going. And if you guys appreciate the discussion in today's episode, then I would love if you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out our recommended videos about to pop up here in a second, and we'll see you next time.